Computer? Okay, so anyway, we'll start that over. It's noon. We're here for the new coach call. I'd asked you guys if you knew you were here for the new coach call, if you clicked on the right link. If not, stay, let's talk, and let's figure out some stuff that's going on here. But my name is Chris Parrott. I am one of the Diamond coaches on the Dream Team. Melanie is one of my personally sponsored. And I am going to just ask everybody, if at first you don't mind, while we get started, if you can go ahead and mute your computers or mute your microphones, and then use the chat. If you're familiar with that, use the chat if you have questions. And then at the end, I'm going to go ahead and open it up and have you guys just hop on. And if you've got any questions of what's going on or what the heck I just talked about, then we'll talk about it there. Okay. So, a little bit about me, because you may or may not know me. And as we're getting into new coach training, if this is your very first breakthrough, there is a million and one things going on, and coaching it's overwhelming. I'll be really honest with you. It's overwhelming. Don't think it's not overwhelming for everybody else out there. So if anybody says, oh, it's not overwhelming, one of two things. They're probably not doing everything that they're supposed to be doing, or they're completely lying to you. If you have got it all figured out by week 3 in the coaching, please message me when we're done with this, because I have to know your secrets. Because come November, I will have been a coach for 2 years now, and it still gets overwhelming with me. Like it goes. And I'm not telling you this to scare you at all. I'm telling you this to excite you, and that you know that you are not alone. But it gets easier as you start to figure out one piece. You're like, oh, okay. And you get excited because you get to do something else. And so, I'm not sure of all of your backgrounds here. If some of you might be at work, or some of you are at home, or maybe it's your day off. For me, it's my day off. I get one day off a pay period. I still work a full-time career. I am a senior human resources specialist with the Air Force, and I love my job, to be honest with you. A lot of people talk about how much they hate their job and they don't want to be part of it, and they want to get out of that. And that's not for me. That's not me. I love human resources. I love the career that I've built, but it's busy. It's busy balancing coaching and balancing my career. On top of that, I have 2 small boys, 5 and 7, and they have a crazy busy schedule. So we're running around, then all of a sudden I'm a shuttle driver. So there's another hat that I wear. My husband works full time as well, and he's going for his PhD. So a lot of that shuttle driving I do on my own anyway. Everything that you balance in between there. And I'm going to see, I think I can. There we go. I think I got it. Okay, I think I got it now. Okay. Sorry, we're getting some background noise there. And so I'm telling you all of this because I want you to know that we all have different backgrounds, and we all have varying commitments and time. And one of the things, if you haven't started doing it already, if somebody hasn't told you to start doing this already, is this. Your coaching time is business time. And so we kind of confuse flexibility with responsibility. And this job is very flexible. It's great so that if you have something that comes up, or if your family needs you, or if you need to go here for an appointment, you can do that. But that doesn't mean that you don't still put in the time at some point. You've got to put in that time, that commitment to coaching to have your business grow. And in order to make that business grow, you got to put in the effort. And so those daily practices, we keep talking about the 3 and 4 vital behaviors, and they keep coming home. Just if you could do nothing else every single day, that is what you focus on. You focus on those invites. You focus on getting your workouts in every day, being the product of the product, because you are first and foremost a challenger. And always, always, always remember that. If you have to make a choice as to something that you're going to do in that day, it is your workout. It is having your Shakeology, and it's leading the way and leading by example, because people are going to follow you. If this is your first New Coach University, you might not really understand the whole follow process. You might not understand the weird terminology of like Facebook stalkers or anything like that. Your friends are going to be following you, whether they like you or not. There are people out there that are going to watch you. In a year into the business, 2 years into the business, I have people that will come to me and be like, I have followed your journey forever. I'm like, you have never liked one of my posts. Not once. One of my rock star coaches, that was her. She just showed up and she's like, I'm ready. after following me for a year. After, by the way, I didn't know she was following me for a year. Like, you don't know who is out there. So if you're true to yourself, first and foremost, you're going to attract people in there. It gets hard to see at times. And so keep posting in the groups, stay engaged, because you're going to see from everybody else that they go through the same thing. The most seasoned of coaches go through the same thing that the new coaches go through. Those that keep it in phase one, keep it with that inviting, keep it with being a product of the product, keep working on yourself and keep working on personal development. Those are the coaches that will survive. So I say that, and you want to build a business, let's build a business. This is one of my favorite topics today. If you guys know, do you know what we're talking about today? Does anybody? Or are you just like kind of surprised and just knew you were supposed to show up here? Okay, this is awesome. I think we have challenge groups getting ready to start, right? So everybody's kind of getting into their preseason and their challenge groups are launching. You might be running it with Melanie or whoever your upline coach is. And this is so exciting, because this is the heart of what we do. This is why Beachbody coaching, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, and I get to tell you guys all this stuff today, is one of the most fantastic business opportunities out there, because we don't just push product. We don't say, hey, hi, buy this, or hey, hi, buy that. And then we don't talk to them again until it's time to reorder, or that like we might be jamming at the end of the month to, hit some sort of goal. No, that is only the very beginning of the journey to get somebody to say yes. Our ultimate goal is to get somebody first to start and finish a program. So just because they bought the program doesn't mean that they're going to open up the container, open up the package, open up the box. And two is to hit their goals. I mean, so we come in, we're talking to these people, and you're going to refine your process when it comes to inviting. You're going to get comfortable with that. And the only way you're going to get comfortable with that is by how frequently you do it. So the more you do something, the more comfortable you're going to get at it. You may not ever, ever, ever like it, but you'll get way more comfortable at it. And you figure out in that inviting process what their goals are. What is it that they want? Not everybody automatically wants to lose weight. Maybe some people just want to feel better. Maybe they don't even own a scale and they just know that they have a pair of pants that they want to fit into. People might want to gain weight. Don't look at somebody and say, oh, you're skinny, you're fine, it's good. That's not up for me to judge or decide. It's up for you to tell me, and you as coaches to find out from the people that you're talking to what their goals are. And then ultimately it's for us to help them realize their goals. And it's up to us as coaches to be strong for them when they don't know how to be strong for themselves yet. It's this great cycle, because I came into the process. I'd had both boys. They were 20 months apart. Pregnancy was not kind to my body. And if I'm being honest, I wasn't really kind to my body to begin with. So I was over 200 pounds and I had a lot of weight to lose. Or I wanted to lose. I shouldn't say I had to lose it, but really if I wanted to be healthy for my kids, and the day that they came and tried to have me get up off the couch to play with them and I had zero energy, was, for those of you that have found that moment, that why, that aha moment, that was mine when my 1.5-year-old grabs my hand and I just looked at him and, I had to go in the bathroom and start crying. Like I couldn't even play with him. I couldn't get on the floor and play with him. Like something had to give in life. And I always put myself back into that position. As painful as it is for me to be in that position, I put myself back there when I have somebody starting out in a challenge, and I'm talking to them and I want them to sign up for me, because I know that pain. I know that fear. I was the girl that was always somewhat overweight and battled with her weight, battled with depression all of her life. And so it's scary. It's scary to take that first step, and it's scary to keep showing up. And that's what we get to be as coaches. So we get to talk about what your role is in a challenge group, what your role is in supporting your customers. And this is probably, don't tell the other calls this, but I think this is probably one of the most important calls to have, because this really defines our role. Everything else that you hear about, when we talk about like growing on Instagram and you grow your followers and you have a blog and you do this and that, they're shiny. It's all these shiny objects that are going to distract you. And they are great. You're going to get to them. For me, I get to them a little bit slower because I have a set amount of time that I can give with my schedule. Don't get distracted by those shiny objects, okay? We stay focused on running great challenge groups. And how do you run great challenge groups? It's learning how to support your customers, okay? And so how do you support your customers? How do you support your challengers? Well, a couple of things, and maybe you guys have already gotten some challengers into this challenge group. And we're going to talk about here at the end, like what happens if you didn't get any challengers in for this challenge group. But how you support your customers. All right. So I go through this whole process, and I'm more than happy to share anything that we talk about on the call here when we're done. But if you're getting comfortable with inviting, or if you're getting a lot of no's and you're inviting, or crickets, oh, that's even worse when you're just like, oh, this is so great for you. I'm so excited. I can't wait. And blam, you shoot out a link. And then you don't hear anything from anybody else. You're like, what happened? Like, this is so great for you. And off they go. And you don't know what happened. You don't know if they just weren't interested. You don't know if, like, maybe their kid read their messages on their phone and they never even saw the message. Like, there's a million and one things that can happen, but don't take it personally. So you think about that, and you don't just shoot somebody a link. They say they're interested. You don't shoot somebody a link. You put it back on them, and you ask questions, and you ask questions, and you ask questions. And I go through, I've got a whole process. It's very long, but when I get through that process, and I mean, it'll take a couple days. And when we're going back and forth in that conversation, I can tell you what my customers, if they've had surgeries, if they've tried, Weight Watchers, if they've tried Isagenix, if they've tried whatever it is that they've tried, what their big fears are, what their goals are, what kind of workouts they actually like. Just because I think 21 Day Fix is going to be great for them, they may hate weights. They may hate doing this. And hello guys, if they hate doing it, guess what they're not going to do? They're not going to work out. So you take that time to figure out what their likes are. What is it that, and so that you can form that program. Beachbody has 700 some workouts for people. We've got a number of programs here, and it ranges for everybody. If you need low impact, if you like to dance more, if you want, heavy weightlifting, if you want somewhere in between and you just need to get started out, if you want nothing to do with weights and you want all cardio, we've got it. But it's up to you guys as coaches to match your customer up with that. Okay. And so it's not just the workouts. So we know that you can work out, but if your nutrition is crap, you're not going to get the results. And what are you going to blame? You're going to blame the workouts. You're not going to blame yourself or the nutrition. You're going to find that a lot with your customers. So we're just now getting our customers. We're just matched up. We've gotten to that point. We've earned the right. Remember this. You've earned the right to send somebody a link. And by that, I mean that you have gone through and you thoroughly know what it is that they need. That you know that they're struggling with late night cravings. You know that, they'll sit down and eat a bag of chips and dip, and they need to find something that's crunchy. They need to find those, those substitutes and those hacks for people. You've sent the link. Everything's great. They've signed up. So awesome. So yay, they've signed up. Throw them in a challenge group and you're done with them, right? They're just going to show up every day, right? No, they're not going to show up every day. They have no idea what that means. So there is the challenge group. There is the allure of the challenge group. There is the allure of the online accountability and having everybody show up that day. But think about the first challenge group you've ever done. So if you were a customer before you became a coach, how did you feel? How did you get started? How did you know to show up to the challenge group? Put yourself back into that position every single time. And so you talk to the person and you're connected, and you're going to do a lot of messaging because it takes a lot to get somebody started. And not a lot in a scary sense, a lot like you're going to start hearing the same questions over and over again for people. Like, what do I do to get started? So you might want to look at maybe making a video, and you make it generic enough that you can send out and say, hey, I just want to let you know I made a video to help you get started. And you can go over and talk about what the on-demand is, how to navigate that, what the My Challenge Tracker app is, what the expectations are. Set expectations of them, that they're expected to show up every single day. It's small little assignments that aren't going to take a lot out of their day, but you coaches know that if they show up, they have a greater chance of success and staying accountable. Set that right in the beginning. That's how you're going to support people right from the beginning, is that you tell them what is expected of them. You're not holding their hand, but you're telling them what they need to do. And you're giving them the tools to get there, because ultimately you want to give them the tools to be successful for themselves. But they don't know how to be successful for themselves yet, right? Okay? So maybe make a video. If the thought of a video scares you to no end, okay. So it's very real. We're gonna face some fears later on in your coaching journey and everything. We don't need to worry about that now. So maybe videos don't work for you. There is an awesome little feature on your Facebook Messenger if you don't know it already, and you can do little voice messages to people, and you can be like, "Hey, what's going on?" And they're 1-minute clips. And you just say, "Hey, I just wanted to check in with you. I'm so excited that you're starting this. I'm so excited to be doing it with you." Thank them. It's okay to thank them for like trusting you in this journey. And then you can go and a couple clips, and it's really personalized. You've made it personal for them. And they're like, "Oh yeah, okay, I feel cool. My coach is getting me started." You can also set up a document that you can share, like a Google Doc. If you guys are familiar with Google Docs, set up a document that gives them all the links and all the resources in one place. That's what I've done for my people, so that they know how to access on demand. Like some of them are like, "What, you told me about this on demand? Where is the on demand?" I'm like, clearly I failed in, not giving you that link, like something that I think is ingrained that I see every time up in the top left-hand corner. Give them a link, give them all of the resources in one page. Because if you think about what you're going through as a new coach right now, and then you put it back in, and it's a lot of new things coming at you and it's firing at you, or you think of yourself back when you started the new challenge group and a lot of things are like, I don't know, there's so many things being fired. Give them the resources like in one place. I love my little document and reference back to it. Like, guys, here is an eating out guide. Here is your on demand. Here is, how you change your Shakeology order next month. Here is how you do this, and I give it to them all in one place. And then I keep bringing it up. Like, hey, by the way, don't forget this is in the files. And I can share that with you guys when you're done too. We've done that in the past too. So share that. But now you've just gotten your coaches started, and we haven't even started the challenge group, right? They get into the challenge group. How many of them do you think show up every single day? Yeah, I know, right? They show up for that first week. They get through prep. They get through prep week if you're doing a prep week. They get through the first week. By week 3, you're like, crickets, 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 crickets. And if this is your first challenge group that you are getting ready to host or co-host with somebody, expect this to happen. Participation will drop. That's up to you, coach, to be reaching out to your people on a regular basis. It's not just dumping them into a challenge group and letting them go and seeing if like, oops, maybe they'll keep showing up, right? No, message them. It's a lot of interaction back and forth. And for me, I have a kind of a schedule. So I call it What Up Wednesdays. If I haven't seen you check into either the challenge group or the app, whatever I'm running it on Wednesdays, if I haven't seen you check in Monday or Tuesday, you've got until Wednesday before you're getting a message. Hey, what's going on? What's going on in your life? And I don't necessarily start out with like, hey, you haven't been checking in the challenge group. Why I'm putting all this effort into it. Why aren't you doing it? No, it's, hey, what's going on in your life? Because what if something happened? Did they fall and hurt themselves? Did somebody get sick in their family and something's distracted? Are they busy at work? If they're busy at work, then you can help give them like, oh, by the way, maybe you don't have time for 45-minute workouts, but did you know there's like an 18-minute HIIT workout, or there's 22-minute hardcore, and you might need to shift workouts. And they were like, oh God, I didn't want to tell you that because I couldn't do it. I felt like a failure. No, you have to jump in there for them and help them because they don't know the options. They know start and they know fail. If they knew how to do this, they wouldn't be in this challenge group, right? If they knew how to do it on their own, they wouldn't be in the challenge group. So reach out to them every Wednesday. My people that are rock stars, I might not reach out to them every single week, but if you guys understand, and maybe you did come from a challenge group, and Melanie or whoever your upline is like, you are a natural coach. Like, you are just doing awesome in your challenge group. Those are the people that I'm having a different conversation with, and I'm keeping an eye on throughout the challenge group. And we're talking back and forth, and just, you encourage them. And you keep telling them like, yeah, get those posts out there. That's so awesome that you're motivating everybody else, that you're encouraging everybody else. And it's really helpful. And that's kind of where your coach grounds come from, like where your recruitment is going to be coming from. I love having coaches that got into the challenge group and that felt that success, because you know what, when they feel that success, they have that fire, they have that determination, and they are going to go forward, and they want to help just as many people. And it comes from just as good of a place. It doesn't become a strictly a money. I'm looking at this from a business perspective. So All right, so we've started out and we're supporting our customers and challengers throughout this challenge, right? And I think if all of you, if you're running it with Melanie, and most of your coaches will run kind of a 4-week format, 3-week or 1-week prep, 3 weeks or 4 weeks of the actual challenge itself. And so really staying engaged with them has got to be one of the biggest tips. Don't let them slip through the cracks. Don't let them go silent. And they may ghost you on a week or two. And if they start ghosting you, and by ghosting, I mean they aren't returning your messages. If they're not returning your messages after, like those 4 weeks, give them a break. And your strategy is then that you invite them to your next challenge group. So every one of those, even the people that said no to the initial challenge group, you invite to your next challenge group. The people that started ghosting or maybe fell off in your challenge group, you invite them to the next challenge group. Because just because they came in for this first group doesn't mean they've gotten to success. It took me a year and a half to lose 70 pounds. It doesn't come overnight. And so our jobs don't just end at signing up for the challenge pack. They don't end at just that first challenge group. It's a lot of care and feeding. And a lot of people will vent after. It might take 2 or 3 times. I'll ask you guys this, and then I'll be really honest for myself too. How many of you, this is your first round in the challenge in new coach training? Is this your very first time in new coach training? Okay. How many of you have done new coach training already in the past and may or may not have done great at it, but just felt like you needed to do it again? Yes. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Guess what? I did it. It took me 3 times before I finally was like, I think I got it. And then I'm ready to move on to the next thing. It is the same principle for challenge groups. They might not get it the first time. And that doesn't mean that we just give up hope on them and let them go. We continue to help them on their journeys until they're able to help themselves. Some of the other suggestions I would give for you guys. One of the things that we do on our team is the first 2 Sundays of the challenge group, we host what we call like kind of the meal planning 101. And so as you get comfortable with the containers, if you guys know on Team Beachbody's website, we have an actual meal planner tool. So the people that struggle with meal planning, just go to the meal planner, just plug in what your preferences are, and it shoots out a meal plan for you. Like there, done, boom. You don't even have to do it. How many of you knew that was out there? It's a great tool. I'll tell you what, our challengers don't know that those things are out there unless they are like absurdly familiar with the Team Beachbody page. You're not just going to know that there's a meal planner tool. But if you take the time to do a video to walk them through and say, hey, this is the meal planner tool, or hey, this is the containers, because how many people pick up those little color-coded containers and go, this is all I get to eat? Are you kidding me? I know I did the same thing when I started, but I had to trust in the process that this was going to work for me. And you have to build that trust with them. You're a trust builder at this point. And so you're going to build the trust, you're going to build the credibility with them. So that's just one thing that we started doing, was doing those 101 calls on Zoom. So by the way, when you start getting them on Zoom, then for new coaches, it's not so weird to be on Zoom for that first time. Like they get on. A couple things to be thinking about later on. And so they're in on Zoom, we're interacting, and they've got the chance to ask their questions at this point. Like, I'm struggling to get these kind of recipes, or my kids don't like this, or I really want this, or, oh my God, I'm having a craving for this. What do I do? And it's sometimes that it just, maybe they didn't want to post it in the group, but they feel a lot more comfortable posting it when it's just the small closed group like this here, because it's optional. You don't have to show up for that video or for that meal plan opportunity. Another thing you guys can be doing, and I know it sounds like a lot, and it's going to get better and more refined as more challenge groups go on. How do you make Shakeology? How many of you just like your Shakeology was awesome the first time you had it? Okay, Tanya, you're awesome. Mine was awful. Like my first week of them were awful. I reached out. I was like, these are terrible. What am I doing here? I was mixing the consistency wrong. And by the way, I ordered chocolate. I don't even like chocolate. Why would I order chocolate? Like that didn't even make any sense. I just thought that sounded like a safe flavor to start with, So it's those, you got to assume, like, ask the question, be prepared for them to be like, it sucks. Like, I hate this. We're used to a lot of really processed sugars in everything that we're buying off the shelf. And people are used to that sweeter flavor like that. They don't understand when you take the sugar out, when you put it more natural, they're like, it tastes really earthy. And I'm like, well, it doesn't taste like dirt, but it is all natural. You can go out and Google, and there are actual pictures of the products that you're putting into your body. But people don't understand that at first. So you get to help them understand that. So maybe when you see that they've placed an order, or I would suggest getting like a little document together, or if you're comfortable in Canva, you can do a really cute little picture and just give them a couple recipes, some fun recipes. Like if you have chocolate and they're craving chocolate and they love Thin Mint Girl Scout cookies, there's a recipe for that. If you like Almond Joys, guess what? There's a recipe for that, and you start tricking yourself. You start making it fun for them, and they trick them. I have one that I do. It's called Morning Margarita. Greenberry is my absolute favorite flavor. And people are like, greenberry? Like nobody buys greenberry their first time around. Nobody. It's green. You're like, I don't know. Yeah, exactly. But I love it. Like it is the most undersold. I think it's the most undersold flavor, and it goes with everything. It goes with every fruit. I can throw it in. And so I do some thawed out raspberries and a half a lime, fresh squeezed lime juice, throw that in there, blend it up with some water and some ice. And I'm like, dude, I could be on a beach right now. I got margarita. Like, yeah, make it fun. Like my tribe are margarita drinking mamas that are busy as all hell, and didn't mean to curse, but that are busy as all heck. And we just like, that's just what we rock, And so for them, if I say morning margarita, awesome. If you're not a drinker, please don't use that recipe. All right. Or if your people are not drinkers, don't use that recipe. Know who you're sending something to. But send them a couple recipes. Just be like, hey, I was thinking of you and thought you might like this. Or when it comes, get this started. And then if they say that they don't like it, they either don't like the flavor or they haven't found the right consistency. To this day, I have yet to find somebody that I haven't been able to find the right their shake. I haven't been able to find their shake. As long as they have responded to me, I've been able to do that. We just kind of got to tweak it and be prepared for them to come back and be like, yeah, no, I still don't like it. Yeah, no, I still don't like it. Because once they get it in their head that they don't like it, it's going to be really hard to change their mind. It's going to be really hard for them to get that second month's bag. So set them up for success right away. And, we were talking about following up. We don't just dump them into a challenge group, right? And so I talked about What Up Wednesday already. You follow up whenever you need to with them. And it's not just following up in a private message. Go if you're friends with them on Facebook or Instagram or wherever you're at in social media, if you're their next door neighbor and they're not on social media, and you go out and you reach out to see what's going on in their lives. Social media just makes it easy. So I can be like, oh, hey, an awkward amount of things about people like, oh, hey, your little guy just got a new teddy bear. That's great. That's how you can follow up too. They know that you're connecting, they know that you're watching, they know that you're caring because you're out on their social media too. And it's genuine comments too, guys. Like, don't just be like, oh yeah, that's great, and keep going. No, these are like, oh my gosh, where did you get that bear at? I was thinking of something like that for my little kid or for my little girl or my little boy, just really genuine, making those connections for people. And you make them, we're creating that community. We're creating that open and welcome environment for people. And we do that by being genuine with them, by making those connections. Does that make sense? So we're following up with them. We're following up with them behind the scenes. We're following up with them in the challenge group. We're following up with them on their social media or texting them or at work or talking about it, whatever, because there's been plenty of times when I first started out coaching. This is one of the regrets I have. I was so proud of my journey, what I was doing, and all the people that signed up with me initially were all of my friends from work because they could see me day in and day out. But you know what I did not do? I hated talking about it at work. I'd be like, oh, okay, just send me a message later on. I still to this day don't know why I did that. I didn't want to talk about it at work. Like it was a secret or something. I don't know. Now anybody mentions it, I'm like, wow, yeah, let's get some Shakeology. Let's do this. Come on, and we've done like desk sizes. I don't know if you know, but like we'll do like little dips or push-ups at our desk and stuff. And we've just done fun little things like that. And it's been exciting. But that was one of my biggest regrets. And I have no idea why at the time. It was confidence. That I didn't want to talk about it at work, even though I look at it and all of my customers were coming from my friends at work. So that's what we've got for some tips. Now here's an important part. Your role in the challenge group itself. So we're focused, we have been focused so far on behind the scenes and like our customers, but we get into the group itself. And you may or may not be running your own group. If you're running your own group, awesome. And if you are co-running a group, so like maybe Melanie is your upline and you're going to co-run one with her, excuse me, and she's taking care of all the posts. So they don't necessarily see you. Does that mean that she does all the care and feeding of your people? No. Does that mean that she does all the care and feeding for everybody else in the group? No. So you're going to have coaches that may or may not be on these calls that may not know to be interacting with their people. It may not be a natural thing for them. If you see somebody in that challenge group and they're posting, every single challenge group, every single comment deserves another comment from a coach, from multiple coaches. Because how does it feel when you post something on your social media and people respond? You feel awesome. It is the same thing in a challenge group. You do the exact same thing. So make a commitment right now that you will never let a comment or a post go without a comment in a challenge group. Even if it's not your person, even if you're co-running it with Melanie and you are scrolling through and you see something that somebody's done and it's awesome, they're super proud, or they're asking a question, or they don't know, you jump in there and you take ownership of it. Just because it may be Melanie's name on the group or it might be your upline coach's name on the group doesn't mean you don't own that challenge group just as much as the rest of them. You own it for your people, you own it for everybody else in there, because ultimately we are all in the same boat in needing to get through that challenge group and needing to get through this, this whole thing that we call life, right? And we just have broken it up into smaller, more manageable increments with these challenge groups. So promise me you guys will get into your challenge group, however it's going to be run, and you will not let a comment or anybody's post go without a comment in there, okay? And they make them genuine comments, not just like, go girl, oh yeah, hey, go girl, or like, hey, great job. It was, they post a new recipe that they tried and they're like, oh, hey, how did you make that? Or, somebody will be like, I had chocolate Shakeology. Well, how was it? Be prepared to ask those questions right out in public. Make them okay with talking about it. Make them okay with talking about, again, maybe their Shakeology was not so good. All right. It's going to happen. So let them create that community. That is the biggest thing that you guys can do as a role as coaches or supporting coaches in co-running a group, is that you create that community. So you own that group just as much as if you were actually, your name was on the daily posts themselves, or you were creating that content. And now here's a really awkward one. So what happens if you announce a challenge group? Yay, I've got this challenge group. It's going to be so great. And nobody shows up. Nobody signs up for it. You have nobody in your challenge group. So prepare yourselves right now, coaches. It happens. It happens to the very best of us. It's happened to Melanie. It's happened to me. It will happen. It's timing. It's not anything necessarily you personally. Okay. It could be the timing of so many people, school's starting, school's ending. It could be summer break. It could be Christmas. It could be, certain holidays. And it just was bad timing for everybody. The stars were not in your favor. So since it's going to happen and you know this, what do? You start a new challenge group, because guess what? Guess how many people on social media know that nobody came to your challenge group? Nobody, zero, absolutely nobody knows that nobody showed up for that challenge group. You turn around and you start advertising like, oh my God, that last challenge group, I was so excited about it. I had to start a new one, and then you're creating that excitement, and then like people get that FOMO going on, fear of missing out. They're like, oh, okay, hold on. What am I missing? And they might not have been on social media. They might have taken that hiatus from social media, and then they come back and they're like, what? She's got another group going on. This sounds awesome. Perfect. Boom. Another challenge group. So just because one challenge group didn't work out for you doesn't mean that you just throw in the towel and you're like, well, fine, I'm not going to get Success Club this month, or whatever it is that your goal may be. That's not how it works. You don't throw in the towel. You don't give up. The bell hasn't rung for you until like you literally just don't sign up for coaching anymore. I mean, like you cancel your coaching, which is not an option. Like it's just not an option. Like you go out and I couldn't even fathom that. It was really hard saying that for a second, but the end of the month is rolling around. I've got to tell you, I have had to roll out new challenge groups because Success Club, I'm excited. I'm coming up on Legend, knock on wood. I got to keep knocking on wood, but like I get Success Club next month. I hit Legend, which if you guys, it's 24 months consecutive in Success Club. It's so awesome, especially on my busy schedule. I know I'm really excited about it. It was a goal. I'm really close to it. I shouldn't talk about that either, but I'm really excited about it. Especially because I know how busy my life is, how limited time I have to be doing things. That was one mark on the wall that I could say every single month, I am going to do this. At a bare minimum, I can help 3 people feel better about themselves. That's what it is. I can help 3 people feel better about themselves and get started and help change their lives. I can do that. And so there have been times at the end of the month that it is 10 o'clock at night and I am pulling out the last of the favorites. Yes, Tanya, I will not jinx myself. Thank you. But there are times, at 10 o'clock at night, you guys, you're going to be pulling out like conversations that you've been having, like, hey, sister of mine, hey, neighbor, hey, friend, I need this, to pull out Success Club. And it's worth it because you know what? They may have just done it as a favor for you initially, but that is the next part for you. Could be that door that you're opening. That could be your next future coach. That could be your next future amazing challenger. And so just because you pulled it out at 10 o'clock at night as a Hail Mary doesn't mean that it isn't still going to be life-changing for them and that you do just as many great things for them. So, but don't get yourself, people will get wrapped up in their head emotionally on this if somebody doesn't show up to the challenge group, and you can't take it personally. And actually the complete opposite of that, it is their loss because you're going to run an awesome challenge group. It is their loss that they don't have your support right now. And guys, it takes like on an average 6 times for people to commit. So if they've said no to you once, you're just starting that conversation. So that's, again, I told you that earlier in the call. You're going to be inviting them to the challenge group the next month. You're going to be on their social media. You're going to be talking to them. You're going to be engaging with them. You're going to be creating value for them. They don't see the value yet in what you are doing, in your workouts, in your nutrition, in Shakeology. They just don't see it yet. And it's up to you guys to create it for them. So again, you'll have those people that'll be following you. You'll have those people. You'll have these ups and downs. Everything's going to happen to you. People are going to be all committed and then they ghost you. Okay, they weren't meant for that challenge group, but that doesn't mean you write them off. That means that you're inviting them the very next month because they had an interest. A lot of people are really embarrassed because they think they can't afford it. They don't know how to afford it. And so you're going to find all kinds of reasons. It is up to you guys, coaches, just get comfortable with the objections in inviting. I know I'm getting off of like how to get people started and everything, but this, I think it's really important, and you can't hear it enough, is to be comfortable with objections. The inviting process can be uncomfortable, but it's the objections and it's the fear of like, people feel like, I almost felt like I was being attacked in the very beginning. Like, no, my product's great. People are going to have their opinions. Let them have their opinions. You're not necessarily going to change it. But I'll tell you, when I get somebody that gets really negative or really nasty, you're going to find on my social media page, like that very next day, I'm addressing it publicly. Like if you've got something like, it's obnoxious seeing my sweaty selfies every day, you know what? This is why I do it. All right. This isn't for you. This is for me and my public accountability. And it's for all the people, the hundreds of people that are in my groups now that I have helped and I've helped get started. So, people are going to have their objections. Same thing with Shakeology. They're going to have their objections to Shakeology. Oh, it's just one more protein drink. Oh, it's just one more this, because they don't know. So you can be out on social media talking about why you love your Shakeology, what it's doing for you. You don't have to sound clinical about it. I couldn't list half the ingredients that are in there. I am not a science person. It just doesn't retain in my brain. But I know how great I feel. I know how much my cravings go out of crazy whack when I stop drinking my Shakeology, right? A lot of people talk about not being able to control their cravings. There you go. There's another post for you. And it's also, your challengers are watching you too. So that's another way to help your challengers by, when they come to your page, are they getting support? Are they seeing value? Are you sharing recipes? Are you sharing tips and tricks for people? So it's not just the people that you want to attract in, it's your crew that you're retaining. How are you helping them as well? So that's what I've got for you I write everything. I've got notes all over the place. And you guys actually made it into the book. You weren't sticky notes today, so I was very happy to prep on this. And I'll check your guys' questions. I see some chats coming up. I just want to make sure I got everything here. Okay. So share the eating out doc. Tanya, yes, I can share the eating out doc. I'm going to tell you right now, it is in the Max 30. It's from Insanity Max 30 is the eating out guide. So you guys have access to that, but I'll share it anyway because I have it as a Google Doc and it's just easier as a link, and then you can just copy it into yours. Don't send people to my Google Doc. If you guys know that about Google Docs already, make copies of everything. Don't just share the link, like set up your own Google Drive and set that up so then people are coming into you. They're coming to you. They don't happen to stumble into Melanie's, or they happen to stumble into mine. I've had some weird people end up accessing my stuff, and I'm okay with that, like if I put them out publicly, but then it was an accident because another coach had just used that link. So just a little tip about your people. So yes, I will share the eating out doc. I will actually just share the whole guide that I with all of the links to it. So if you guys can take and modify it however you want, and I'll share the starting right guide. And it's nothing fancy. I am the most art deprived person on the face of the earth. So if you want cute pictures and everything else like that, then just take the doc and make it yours. What do we say? It's a really good point about the sugar. Yep. Yep. Have you found a certain phrases or words to call it other than a supplement or protein drink that people respond to it better? Yeah, I call it Mom's Liquid Gold. Totally what I call it. Straight up in my closing with everything, because we've had these conversations and most of mine are busy working moms. I will tell them that this is your saving grace right here. This is without fail. I drink my Shakeology regularly and I feel better. It's one less meal that I have to think about. And it's done. It's just there for me. I don't have to balance it. I count it as my container and I add some fruit to it. I blend it up and I go. So yeah, Mom's Liquid Gold. That's what I use. And I don't try to sugarcoat it because I don't want to call it a supplement. I don't want to call it a protein drink because it's more than that, you know? But if you start getting too scientific, on it, people's eyes are going to glaze over and you're going to lose them. It's how can you relate to them? And I apologize because if there are any scientists in there, that is exactly how you're going to relate to somebody. So you do need to break it down that way. Know who you're talking to. Again, I have busy working moms. They get it when I say that. Okay. So Raina had to leave. And Tanya, you said your next one's for the mic. So let's hear ya.
Okay. So can you hear me now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Oh my gosh, I look at my picture. I look so old on camera. It's like, that's why I hate cameras. Anyway, I was kind of curious. I put a link on my page for, which was probably a mistake now, but it was for it was one of the links for Beachbody. Asking which Beachbody program is good for you. Some of the links that go from Team Beachbody, how do you actually get them to link to go back through you? Because sometimes they have a link or they have an article or something like that that's on their regular page. But if somebody sees it, being that my page is public, and somebody sees it and they say, hey, I want to join, they don't know how to, unless I put my rep number on the post. It was my only post that I did like that, because then I realized, okay, I shouldn't be doing it that way. But I was just trying to think of ideas for posting. And it was actually a really good article. But how do you get it to link back to you?
Okay, so you're talking about the article. You're talking about an article that was on Team Beachbody's blog?
Yeah.
And then it said which programs. What I'm going to suggest, and I typically, especially on my personal page, be careful doing links on the personal page. Maybe on a business
this was on my business. It was on my business page and stuff. I was something that I was posting, but it was like, okay, maybe I shouldn't have done that one.
Yeah. Okay. So if it's information giving, there's times when I'm short on, like, this article was just really great and I will just share it. Normally what I will do is I will turn it into a post for myself. Like, I will take the information that I've learned from there and I will apply it. So if I'm going to do something, I'm not necessarily going to send, and it's not that it was wrong because we end up learning all of these different things as we go. But
right.
For something like,
I worry about plagiarism and stuff like that. But
well, you learn, like identifying a program, something like identifying a program. That's my job as a coach to help get you in. So I might say,
Right.
hey, I might turn it around for what's working for me right now. And I would have maybe made a post about like, hey, this is the workout that I'm doing right now. This is why I love it. And you're going to find, then you can kind of attract people that might be interested in that kind of workout instead of giving them so many different, like, hey, is this the right workout for you? You make it more specific to you. Don't try, as coaches, and especially as coaches when we're first starting out, we want to help everybody. Like, we are just like, yes, my neighbor, my kid's teacher, the principal, you name it, everybody. I want to help everybody. Everybody is not your tribe. And you're going to learn that the longer that you're a coach. And so when we try to do something too massive, we don't reach anybody. So if you can narrow it down to what is personally for you, you know, what works for you. This is the program I'm doing. This is why I like it. This is why, you know, cardio training or weight training or, you know, this dance program where I completely thought I would never like a dance program and I ended up loving Country Heat. You know, why did I love Country Heat? Bring it back to you and create that that's what I'm talking about when I'm creating that value, is that you're giving that information to people in those small digestible pieces. Does that make sense?
Okay, so in general, with any Team Beachbody article about the food, about the, you know, the recipes, anything like that, just copy and paste or somehow bring it back to you? Or is there any way to link it to your rep ID?
No, so under the Team Beachbody, unless you're doing the programs, which you would never be, I hope you're not putting a link to an actual program out there.
No.
Yeah, there's Coach Codes or the Coach Link Generator, if you guys know that. Coach Codes is a really
I've actually known that to be wrong sometimes though, so I kind of stopped using it when I figured that out.
The Coach Codes?
The Coach Code thing.
Oh, okay. I haven't had any problems with it.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I'll check out to see if I was doing something wrong, but I did a link and then used it and it didn't go right. Okay. So I wasn't quite sure what the thing was. But
Beachbody has the Coach Link Generator as well. So they have their own link where you put it in your own Coach ID. So they have that too.
Okay. And the other question I had is with the videos to the programs. Do you suggest sending those out to, you know, like giving them ideas? Like Clean Week is coming up, and I'll have a video and say, hey, you know, check out this video.
Yeah, so they'll do
picking those up at.
Yeah, so the promo videos that are coming out, check in the back office is going to have like all your promo stuff for Clean Week. And yeah, if you're out on your business page and be like, oh my God, I'm so excited about this. But again, don't just post it and say, hey, check this out. Does this look interesting? Say why you're excited about it. You're excited because we're going to be able to give you like an entire week of nutrition and workouts, and they're going to be all brand new and they're all going to be free. And that's super exciting for me, you know, why you're excited about it. But yeah, I would share those for sure. But so that's when it gets into the following up of people that are liking or commenting on your posts
and you're
and
asking
everything.
them questions and seeing what program fits for them, and then you're like, you know, you get to the idea of hey, I think this program will fit for you. How about you check out this link and see if you agree?
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks. Any other questions? We got a few more minutes. No? I'm so excited to share my lunch with you guys today. That was great. Yeah? Did it help? Did you guys get some good ideas of how to take care of your customers, your challengers getting started out? Heads up. If sharing a link to a blog post on simply add rep ID to the end of any link from the blog. Oh, Sandy, awesome tip. So you can share a blog post on Team Beach. Okay, I have not done that, but I am copying that right now. Okay, I'm copying that. And that's great news. That is something you can. This is why I love this community of coaches, because we're always learning something new that you can do. Like I don't go out on the blog all that much. I don't go out on the blog all that much anymore because I just kind of write my own, like what I need it to be. But to know that you can do that now is invaluable to link them back to it. So Tanya, there is your answer right there. Sandy just totally helped you with that. If you can see that in the comments. So that's awesome. And we've copied that and we can share that as well. That link info. If you don't see me write something down, it doesn't typically happen 30 seconds after I get done with it. So always watch me write something down. All right, cool. What else we got? It's good recipe. Oh yeah, definitely good for recipes. So the recipes are really easy, and the longer you do this, I just got my blog up this year, and I'm not big on it, but really what you'll want to do is not do what I've done and actually focus on your blog and be able to add those recipes there, because then what you can do is after you've done the recipes and maybe you've made some tweaks on them, then you can send people the link to your blog versus just Beachbody. Something a little bit more advanced. Don't think you have to do it. Obviously, I've made it this far and I haven't had a blog, so you don't have to do it, but yeah. Yeah. Is there a challenge pack for the performance line? Yes. So the all access, there's a number of programs that do have the all access or do have the performance line as part of it, but it would be if they're specific. I think it's like 22-minute hardcore. I think they finally came out with one for Hammer and Chisel, for Body Beast, but you're not going to see it for things like Country Heat, because a program like Country Heat doesn't really you don't need the recovery for it on the performance line. But the all access, yep, they have the performance line for the all access now, and as well as the Shakeology. So yes, you can find that in there, and you will find that if you do either Coach or the Coach Link Generator, either one of them, you will see under the challenge pack, and it'll say all access challenge pack, Shakeology, or all access with the performance line. So, but I was worried they would get so get lost, so to speak. Yes, there. Yeah, people get lost really easily in a blog, and in the Beachbody blog, and you kind of start going down a rabbit hole. So again, I think it's one of the reasons why I just don't post the links there to it, because it just helps keep it focused on what I want them to be focused on. And then I can share that information later on once they do become customers, like that they can go out and start reading that stuff for themselves. But your point on your Facebook, a lot of it is to bring the people in, and then to give your customers, oh, hey, there's a new food idea. So make it what you've tried, recipes that you've tried. All right, cool beans. Thank you so much for letting me be on here today. I love this call. So you guys have a great day. Enjoy, go forward, invite, have a really successful challenge group. And I'm looking forward to seeing so much more of you guys in the future. All right, bye.